I am pumped, Mike. I am super pumped. I'm ready for this weekend. First game I'm going to in a really long time here, a couple of years now. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. I couldn't go to any games last year. So, really, I guess 2 years. But still, I mean, it feels like forever. Antonio's saying, uh-oh, no audio. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, as I was saying, going to be going to the game this weekend. Oh, audio working for me, but not for Mike.
Yep, yep, yep.
Antonio, I appreciate you, man.
Check.
Little technical difficulties, no big deal. I could talk through it. It's not a
There we
problem
go.
in my
There we
eyes.
go. Should be hearing me now. So check. Yeah. All right. Thanks for letting us know, Antonio. Appreciate that. Let me know if you hear me. And then I'll kind of start things over again here. All right. Awesome.
Okay. Beautiful.
Thanks a lot, Antonio.
What a
Appreciate
guy.
you. So let me start again. So welcome. Good evening. And welcome to a special edition of the Nickel City Mafia pregame report, Buffalo Bills versus the Colts. I'm Mike Thornton, and the reason why we're coming to you live on a Thursday night, because my co-host over here, Jake Podger, is going to be going to the game on Sunday. So let me throw it back over to you, Jake. I know the folks heard you, but let's just say it again. Talk to me. How you doing, man?
I'm absolutely pumped, Mike. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to have a blast going to a tailgate at my office. Then we're going to bounce from there to another tailgate. We got a couple lined up, so we're just going to be making our way through the entire tailgating zone. I mean, it's going to be a blast. I'm pumped. I got a lot of buddies that are going, so it should be a really good time.
Are you going to be doing most of the tailgating from your office, or are you guys going to go into the stadium?
We'll start there, probably tailgate there for an hour or so. My boss is doing a brisket from what I hear, so
Nice.
Pretty exciting there. And I'm going to contribute. We're going to bring some snacks and whatnot, do our due diligence, probably bring some beers, so that'll be great. And then, from there, we're going to meet our other buddies in the RV lot. So I'm excited. We got a full day.
Awesome. Well, I didn't get a chance while I was out there to get any video of somebody jumping through a table. So if you happen,
I can do that.
If you happen to see that, get a video, and we'll put that on our.
Maybe I'll do a few interviews too, or something.
That would be cool.
Off the cup.
Yeah. So hopefully
cusp.
Hopefully we haven't talked about this yet, but hopefully we can do a post game Monday or Tuesday. I'm free both those nights because our golf show on Tuesday is on a little bit of a vacation. Golf's kind of in between. So.
Tuesday night might be the best, honestly, Mike, because Wednesday night, that's Thanksgiving Eve.
Yep.
Huge fake holiday here in Buffalo. It's one of the biggest nights of the year for going out and whatnot. So we might be going around town a little bit.
Let's see. What is Jason chiming in there? Jake could definitely carry Mike's share of talking.
Uncle Jay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Absolutely. He filled in nicely for me.
Yeah, that's not an issue here. Not at all.
No, I don't worry about that at all. All the guys on this channel can talk. You just let them go and they won't stop. So anyhow, so, let's close the book on last week's game quickly because it was a blowout, just like we would have expected them. I mean, I predicted a pretty low score. I think a lot of us were cautious about that game, especially when what happened with the Jaguars. So we were cautious, but the team came through and did what they should have done. And we probably ended Mike White's journey. I mean, right?
Yeah, it's sad. The guy came out, he said, I should have been a first overall pick in 2018, and we made him look like absolute garbage. And now we got Joe Cool, who's starting this week against Miami. So who knows what's going to happen with that? That'll be pretty interesting to watch Joe Flacco. He actually played pretty well when he came in last year, too.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And I mean, I liked how we went under center more. I think that just got us in rhythm. It basically they have to respect that the run's a potential there. And I just think with Josh has a quick drop back. And you shared with me earlier in the week some of the magic that Josh has with his hands, right? So talk a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, it's just incredible. Like a lot of that goes unnoticed, but you see some of these plays, especially when he does these fake reverses and fake handoffs. Like it's amazing with his hand placement how sleight of hand he has. Like there was the one play specifically that I showed you on Twitter where he did a fake handoff to Zach Moss and then he handed it to Isaiah McKenzie and it was an end around reverse. And we got like 8 or 10 yards on that play. But it's truly actually no, it wasn't actually a reverse. It faked me. I'm thinking it faked me out. It was actually a check down pass, but absolutely incredible work of the hands on that play. I mean, just a thing of beauty. It's stuff that you just don't talk about statistically, and it's such a little like meaningless play in a lot of people's eyes. But when you go back and look at the film, it's like, wow, how the hell did he do that? It's just amazing. He's like a magician out there.
Yeah.
So I'll have to find the link or something. Maybe I could post it in the chat on this or something, the Twitter for that, because that was just incredible. I mean,
yeah, it was cool.
Truly amazing.
I didn't know who had the ball, and I was watching it slowly, and I'm like, who's got it? Did he actually keep it?
Yeah, faked me out. I was even trying to recap it, and it faked me out. So that's how impressive it was.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, so I'm, we did what we had to. We sort of got ourselves right, and we needed that coming into a big game this week. So any closing thoughts on that game?
We just got to keep running with that energy, Mike. I mean, now, unfortunately, we have Spencer Brown, who is probably not going to play. Actually, I'm pretty sure 100%
he's
not going to play. So that is unfortunate for sure. So, we just got to keep going. We got to keep moving on. Next man up. And Josh has to keep playing like he did on Sunday.
Yeah, so before we get into the show, I want to do a little bit of admin stuff. Slinky, good to see you. Yes, Jake and I were saying, man, how nice would it be if the Falcons could pull an upset? I don't know. Is there any score yet, Jake, in the game?
It's 10-0 now, New England.
Yeah.
But I will say this: incredible uniform combination between these two teams. Love the Falcons throwback unis that they had. That should be their full-time uniform set right now. Love the old school Falcons logo as well with the long wing. Just incredible. It's a thing of beauty. And I thought maybe Atlanta they play them close in this game, and it just seems to be one-sided right now, which is unfortunate, but still holding on to hope.
It'd be nice, but yeah, we know the Patriots are looking good, so we'll talk about them when we get to them a couple weeks from now. But let's focus on the Colts. And like I said, before I get into the show, let me do a little bit of admin. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please drop a nickel on that subscribe button. Give us a like, give us a share. We appreciate you guys coming out here and supporting us every week. And so it's good to see a lot of the regulars there. I also have some good news. I mean, we had a company reach out to us who saw our show, who saw what we did with the Josh Allen giveaway and the content that we're providing. And they came to us and they said, we'd like to sponsor your next giveaway. So guess what, folks? We have a giveaway starting this Sunday. It's going to run. Yeah. It's going to run for 4 weeks. It's going to end the Sunday right before Christmas. And whoever that winner is, we'll get that gift over to you next day air, second day, so you can have it before Christmas. It's either going to make you a great gift or it's going to be if you want to re-gift it to somebody. It is, I'll tell you what the gift is. It's a $500 gift card to the fanatics.com website. And hopefully, if you're a sports person, you know what the fanatics.com site's all about. Anything you want. Jerseys, signed jerseys, helmets. It's actually where the Josh Allen signed helmet came from. So it's a great place. $500 can buy you a lot of good stuff. Hopefully all Buffalo Bills things. But hey, if you want to spend a little bit on the Sabres, I'm okay with that as well. And hey,
University of Buffalo, tough loss yesterday, but hey, you know what? They got almost every college team known to man on that site too. It's phenomenal. Half the stuff in this man cave came from Fanatics. So beautiful. I am a huge fan, huge proponent.
Yeah.
Great gift to win.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we're super excited that this company came to us. We'll be talking about their product on all our shows. And again, I'm going to drop a video. It's going to go live on Sunday morning with all the details. Antonio, you were one of the big players in the Josh Allen helmet. So you know how this thing works. We are going to have all the ways to get more entries, just like we had last time. Last time we started with, do a kind act of service, which is important to us. We're having a little more fun this time, but it's the holiday season. And all we're going to ask is that, tell us your favorite memory during the holidays. Give us some. Did mom and dad surprise you one year? Just tell us something that you can remember that's one of your favorite memories from the holidays. And it's holiday season, so let's have fun with that. And then, of course, all those other ways of getting entries are still going to be the same. So we're excited to bring that to you. Again, watch on Sunday. Again, we won't have a show on Sunday, but I'll drop the video so you guys can get all the details, and it will start this Sunday. So Jake, pretty excited about that, right? I mean, this company came to us. They
It's awesome.
liked
Yeah,
what
that
we're
is so
doing.
cool.
Yeah, and they liked how we did the Josh Allen helmet giveaway. They liked our content, and I'm super excited.
I'm pumped too.
Happy.
I am excited. And you know what? The company themselves, I checked it out. They have an app and everything. Mike will go into details about it. It's very, very well done. So
oh yeah, it's
we can back them for sure.
Yep, definitely. So Antonio, I expect you to be one of those top, what do you want to call it, top entry guys once again. It was so close, Antonio, so close. You were right up there as one of the top guys, and hopefully everybody else will get in there. Slinky, I didn't see you last time, so Slinky, I don't know if you're maybe under the age of 18, but hey, Slinky, get your parents if you are. If you're 18 or older, you should be getting into this giveaway. But if you're not, like I said, get your parents. Have them get in the giveaway. There's a lot of good stuff you can buy with that. All right, let's move on to this week's show here. So let's talk a little bit about the injury report. And yeah, the big breaking news today, at least it's the first time I heard it early this morning, was Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown out on COVID, and he is definitely out. At least that's what they're saying from everything that I've read. I got to say on this one, Jake, it was crazy to me how social media, when this news broke, that all the Bills fans were like, oh my God, we're done. Our season's over. We're not going to win this game. And
it's amazing.
You and I talked about it. Yeah, Spencer Brown's a great addition. He's a third round pick. I did say early on when we drafted him that he's the type of person that if he does get into the starting lineup, he might stay in the starting lineup. And that's exactly what happened. But guys, people, we had this. He wasn't with us last year when we made that run to the AFC Championship game. I know our offense has been struggling. I know Spencer Brown just brings a different. I mean, he just has a chip on his shoulder. He actually adds to the run game, but he hasn't been perfect. I mean, he was beat a couple times on pass protection, and so again, I'm like, don't worry, tone it down a little bit. We're going to be fine, I think. And again, we miss him. I hope he gets through it just fine. But yeah, big news. What'd you think about that, Jake?
Well, I love your optimism, Mike, because I am a little worried still. And I'll be honest with you. So a lot of people have been saying behind Josh Allen, the second most valuable player on this team has been your guy, Taron Johnson.
Yes.
The third most valuable player on this team, a lot of people have said Spencer Brown.
Wow.
And honestly, I can see it. He's been huge. I mean, it's such a difference when we have him in that starting right tackle position. I mean, it's like night and day. It really is. And it has been the whole year. So, yeah, he struggled a little bit against the Titans. But other than that, the guy is such an attitude changer. He was just taking guys out. That Jets game last week, I went back and rewatched that. That guy was just absolutely lighting them up. I mean, Pancake City, it was incredible. It was just so fun to watch. He's a stud. He's really freaking good. He's a good football player. And it's amazing because this guy was supposed to be a project, like third-round pick. Yeah, he's going to get in a little bit. He's 6'9", 312 pounds, lean guy. But man, I mean, I don't think anyone expected what he's doing right now. So it kills. I mean, this hurts. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This absolutely murders my soul. The fact that we can't have this guy on the field on Sunday. It's tough. It absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
But,
what's also scary is that we have a Thursday game following, and he could very likely miss that. So we could be without Starr and Spencer Brown for the next two games, which is definitely tough. I'm a huge fan of Starr. I've talked him up a lot during the show, during the season. He's just really plugged up that middle and made it hard for anyone to run the ball against us. But we did a pretty good job without him last week. And I don't know. I don't have this. I just have confidence in this team. I don't know. I mean, with all the things that have gone wrong with the Jacksonville thing, that was our offense. And I feel no matter what is going on, our defense is good enough to keep us in any game. I really believe that. So believe in our guys. I'll miss Spencer Brown, but I'm not as worried as Jake. I don't know why that is. But
I like it. Yeah, I love that.
By the way, I forgot something. So this is crazy, folks. Out there in the channel, I said everyone put a prediction of the score last week, and we were going to give away a $50 gift certificate to the one who was closest. You didn't even have to hit it on the head, and we only had 4 people put the score out there, Jake. So I was shocked, but our winner was Josh Stubby. I'm hoping he comes out and I sent him. It was a little difficult him getting a means for me to send him the gift certificate. Instead, I just sent him money. So he's got $50 now in his account. He says he's going to use it.
Nice.
He's doing something at his
Nice.
church. I guess it's an adopt a child type of thing where for the holidays, you buy this child something, and he's going to put that money mostly towards that. So
What a
super
guy.
cool. Yeah, he really is. He's a really good guy. So I was hoping he'd stop out. He said he might try, but yeah, all it took was his prediction was 30-19, which was very close to yours, which
We were
was
a point
30
apart.
to 20.
Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
so he got the edge on you. So again, this time, you never know. You never know what our channel. Are we going to make you hit it on the head, or are we going to give it to you? It's the holiday season. So please put a prediction in the channel. We're going to keep this going. Tell me who's going to win and what that score is going to be. And again, I don't know if this week we'll do it again where we'll just say the closest gets to it, but you never know with the Nickel City Mafia, right, Jake? You just never know.
Yeah. You never know. We're spontaneous.
Exactly. It's the season to give, and we definitely like to give back to people. All right. So the other big, again, Star Lutuale. We got the news breaking last Sunday, right before the game, right? That was while we were live. I think your dad broke the news to us, so that was a pretty big hit to us as well. But we were able to get through that. I mean, Star, he held out last year because of COVID. We didn't see him last year, and here he is, and now he has it. And again, I hope both he and Spencer Brown get through this thing as quick as possible. We need him back for these, for these upcoming games. But again, they're probably going to miss the next two, but we'll be fine. I think we're going to be fine. Cole Beasley.
Harry Phillips played pretty damn good.
Yeah, he did. He did.
I will say,
F.A. Abada came in and had a really good game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
The beautiful thing about what the Bills did on the defense is we have depth. We have depth on this defense. So next man up, as we always say, and then Spencer Brown, next man up as well. We'll be all right there. Cole Beasley.
Cole too. I saw he didn't practice.
Ribs. He's questionable. We know he's been dinged up. He didn't play a lot last week as well. I think the game was in hand, so why put him in there? There was no reason. Right. I hope to see him a little bit more. I'll talk a little bit about that later on because I have him as one of my impact players. I'll talk about that. Why? Give some reasons for that. Tremaine Edmonds, questionable. And Matt Milano showed up this week on the injury report as well. He is questionable. I think it was a shoulder injury for Matt, which is always a little worrisome. I mean, that's an area you just don't want to have an injury to. And I think Edmonds is dealing with a hamstring. So hopefully they both play. If not, we saw what AJ Klein could do last week, right? And we'll talk a little bit about AJ Klein because I have him as an impact player this week. And you and I talked a little bit. So we'll talk more about that. Nice. But and then Taiwan Jones, who's a special teams guy for us. He's questionable, and of course,
special teams ace, Mike.
Yeah,
he had a really good play last week, too.
Yeah, for sure. Feliciano is still on IR. I think he's got it this week and next week before he could even be eligible to come off. So thoughts on those injuries? I mean,
there's some big names. Yeah. There's definitely some big names on there, and I mean, the Colts are a really good football team, so we need everyone we possibly can to secure a win because they're not easy and they're not going to go down easy either. So, I mean, it hurts a little bit. I mean, this definitely stings, especially with the guys that we know are out, like huge impact players. So, we'll see what happens.
I don't have a feel. I mean, it's so early in the week. It's not early in the week, but we still have a few days. I don't have a feel if Edmonds or Milano, because to me, we already know Brown and Lutuale is out, but to me, we need at least one of these guys, if not both of them. I'm hoping both. And I don't have a feel whether or not they expect them to play. So we saw Milano play the whole game. Hopefully it's just mostly a little. Again, they don't go into detail on these injuries.
It might just be precautionary too. Yeah. You're required to report every injury regardless. So a lot of times guys end up on the injury report and it's not anything to be concerned about. So hopefully that's the case for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, agree. On the Colts side, they have some names as well on the injury report, but I feel most of these guys are going to be playing. Everything I read didn't seem like anything was too serious.
Huge names on that list,
too. Right. These are key guys for them.
Whole defense.
Xavier Rhodes, Braden Smith, Darius Leonard, Eric Fisher, DeForest Buckner, and Eric Fisher. By the way, on the slide, if anyone's ever wondering why I put some folks in green and why I put some folks in white, the folks highlighted in the green are starters. They are starters. So
Nice.
anyhow, and then Deo, try to say this name. All right, stay it with me. Deo Obeingbo. I'm hoping I said that right, but
Deo
he's
Odeyingbo.
their defensive end they drafted in the second round this year,
Yeah, he's
and
not bad.
he's coming back from an Achilles injury. I'm going to talk about him later too. But these are guys. These are their stars. They're young draft guys. Are starting to come in and actually have an impact on these games. Both, and I'm talking more about Quiddy Pay and Dale here, and we'll talk about them more. And then TJ Carrier, the cornerback, is also questionable. So again, I feel like most of those guys, from what I've read, are going to be playing. There's no reason
I
why
just
they'll
want
be
to say
sitting out.
something about TJ Carey,
Yeah, go
too.
ahead.
I watched him play in person when I was working with the University of Buffalo football team. He played for the Ohio Bobcats. Shout out to the MAC. And we tore him apart. Alex Newts, our receiver, went off, and I think he had a monster day. That's all I remember. And TJ Carey, he was good, but I know we took full advantage of that defense when we played against him. So shout out to him.
Looks like I have a little typo. Is it Carey? I have Carrier for some reason.
TJ Carey, yeah.
TJ Carey.
Yep.
But anyhow, so both sides of the ball with injuries. Of course, this time of the year, you kind of expect that. We've been pretty lucky up until this point, but I mean, with the cold season, which there's no more cold season, it's the COVID season really kicking in now. I'm worried.
I guess everything else went away. I don't know. I mean,
what's
crazy.
What's scary about that, Jake? I mean, like we find out with Star, it can hit you at any time. Like I'm thinking to myself, all right, Spencer Brown just played a game on Sunday. He was around a lot of people. I don't know how they determine when he got it and who he was around, because there's this close proximity thing where if you're determined to be close to somebody who was tested positive, you're out as well. So you never know. I mean, it's a scary thing, this COVID, obviously.
Well, it's like you cough now, and it's like you think you're going to get arrested first off, or second off, you're like, what the hell? Am I next? What's going on here? It's insane.
Yeah, it's like I take my kids to the grocery store, and one of them starts coughing. I'm like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Everybody starts looking at you.
Yeah.
Yep. Big Al out there. How you doing, Big Al? Good to see you. He throws a prediction 24-21. Man,
yeah.
Big Al, you're close to what I was going to say, so I'm going to wait till the end to give mine out, but you're right there with me. And do you think we should give Cody Ford another chance? Personally, I would start someone else. Jake, I know you're so against Cody Ford, so I'll let you answer this question.
Yeah, and like I said, Mike, I never like to downplay or put down any NFL player. There's a reason why I'm sitting here talking on this show and I'm not out on the field playing in the NFL right now. I mean, obviously, those guys are superior athletes. They're incredible football players, all of them. Like, to get to that level is an amazing thing. But Cody Ford is not the answer. 100% we have to start someone else there. I personally, maybe it's time to give Tommy Doyle a shot. Put him at right tackle, put Darrell Williams at guard. Because it seems to be a better spot for Darrell Williams, too, at right guard. And maybe you kick Tommy. I think Tommy Doyle is technically a left tackle, but move him over to right tackle. Let's see what the kid can do. Why not? He's got a mean streak in him. Or maybe you move Jameel Douglas, who we signed in the offseason. We could put him at right guard, kick Darrell Williams back out to right tackle.
Yeah, everything I read, I watched the shows around Buffalo. I love to support the other shows that talk about the Bills and all our sports teams. So I listen to them. I watch a lot of social media. I'm always checking things out there. And, the overwhelming response is do not play Ford. They do not want to see Ford on the field at all.
You can only give the guy so many chances, and it doesn't seem to be working. I hate to say it. It's just he's not the answer.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's see here. I had another little admin thing I'd forgotten to say, but now that it's just escaped me, it'll come back. Let's go into the the weather report. So the weather in Buffalo gonna be around 46 degrees at game time, rain at times.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have a rain game because I don't know, for me, and maybe this is because I'm old school, I always just feel like a good running team has a better opportunity in a rain game. I could be wrong. It's just the old school in me, I guess. Winds are going to be out of the south at 14 miles an hour and wind gust up to 23. So weather can definitely play a factor this week. Any thoughts on the weather, Jake?
Well, it's football weather, Mike. Yeah. We're getting into the later part of the season. And you know what? for anyone saying, and if Tim's out there, I know he's a huge advocate, let's get a dome, better football is played in the dome. I got one response to that. You didn't grow up playing football as a little kid out in a dome, okay? You grew up wishing to play in the elements. This is what it's all about, baby. And anyone who goes to the game and complains about the weather, a little bit of rain, come on, suck it up. This is football. You're here to watch a game. It's a beautiful thing. Regardless, rain or shine, it's going to be amazing. I think the Bills are going to pull it out. And, yeah, I mean, maybe it gives a little bit of an advantage to the Colts because Jonathan Taylor has been running wild. But, man, it's going to be awesome regardless, and I'm pumped about it. Tyler Bass, he was built to kick in these conditions. He's perfect for it. He was built, B-I-L-L-T, for it. And, it might play to a disadvantage for the Colts kicking game. I'm not sure if Rodrigo Blankenship's going to play or not. Looks like Michael Badgley is going to be the guy, most likely. And they play in the dome, so they're not used to this weather. So, maybe a disadvantage for them kicking the football. So I am pumped for it. I think we're right where we need to be, and it's going to be fine.
I'm just worried about you guys out there in the stands. You better be come prepared.
We'll have enough beers in us, Mike. It's not going to be an issue. I promise you.
You know, my kids, when I went to the game, they're like, Dad, I just hope it doesn't rain because rain, I mean, if you're not prepared, it gets you, everything gets wet and cold. We'd rather have the snow than the rain. So
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I do agree with that. I think snow is so much more fun. You see it on NFL film. With the TVs now, they're so clear too. You could barely even see the raindrops coming down. It's wild. But the snow, it's a spectacle. It's so pretty. I mean, even actually, it was the Colts who we played in that snow game 4 years ago, 2017, I think it was, when we were wearing the red uniforms and Shady McCoy had a monster day. And we actually won in overtime. And my gosh, Joe Webb had to come in and play quarterback for us that game.
Really?
I don't know if you remember that. Yeah.
Really interesting.
So that was a great snow game. That was awesome. And actually, it's also an anniversary for us here in Buffalo. We had this big thing. You probably saw it on the news. We call it Snowvember. I think it happened November 14th or something like that. But I'm getting all these memories and pictures and stuff. And this is a total sidebar, but I'm just going to keep on going. I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all.
I used to drive a Kia Rio, Mike, and this thing was just a small little clown car, and it doesn't owe me a dime. Now I drive a truck, I had to get something four-wheel drive. I want to be higher off the ground too, a lot of reasons for that. But I'll tell you what, this other Kia Rio that I used to drive used to get 38 miles to the gallon. It was absolutely incredible, little clown car, and Snowvember hit. I mean, we got dumped on. It was like 6 feet of snow, no joke, within a day. And then it just kept falling. I think at one point it was falling. I read something. It was like 1/8 of an inch a minute. It was so insane. I mean, they had front loaders coming down streets. Like it was wild. So I left my wife's house. She was my girlfriend at the time. I left her house at like 2 a.m. And I said, you know what? The snow was let up a little bit. I'm going to try to make it home. She's like, all right, just let me know when you get in there. So I got all the way down to the end of our street. And I call my dad because there was no way I'm getting down there because our street was not plowed. So I call him and he says, all right, well, I'll come down with my truck. He couldn't even get out of the driveway with his truck.
Oh, wow.
So he walks down there. We're shoveling to get out. Luckily, a plow came by, but it's November. Memorable time in Buffalo. And now we got a little bit of rain. So I wish it was snow.
Yeah.
Just going back to that whole thing. Let's bring everything together here. I really do wish it was snow. And I think we're supposed to get some snow next week.
Yeah, I think you got a little snow last week, right?
We did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yep.
All right, well, let's get into a little bit about the Colts. All right, so we got Frank Reich returns to Buffalo. We love Frank Reich, except for when he comes to town as the coach of the Colts, right? A lot of great memories of Frank, and you just can't say nothing bad about the guy. And obviously, I've been a fan for much longer than you, Jake. I'm just much older than you. And I saw Frank come in for Kelly and, orchestrate one of the biggest comebacks ever against the Oilers back then. And that was incredible. So lots of good memories of Frank coming into town. He's been the coach now since, I believe, 2018. Yep. He was before that. He was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. And and he's reunited now this year with Wentz. Wentz was the quarterback. They drafted him in 2016. And in both 2016 and 17, Wentz had some of his best years with Frank Reich. So they reunited, hoping to spark. And honestly, I mean, he's gotten better as the seasons went on. I don't know what your thoughts are on him, but he's he's not like a passer like a Josh Allen, but I feel like, and he does do some, what do you want to call hero ball and make some stupid plays. I mean, but Josh, I don't want to ever call him stupid, but he's made some hero ball throws as well. So he does do a little bit of that.
Plays.
Yeah. I saw him. I watched the game last week. I rewatched it, and, he throws a left-handed pass here and there. I think he's done it back-to-back weeks, and the fans and Indy now are just like, oh my God, please, if we can just stay away from those type of plays. He plays a pretty solid game. I mean, he can extend plays. He can get out of the pocket.
Yeah, similar size, similar speed, everything. Very similar to Josh Allen.
Yeah. He just doesn't have the arm strength as Josh, but who does? Right. I mean, there's probably only one other guy in the league even close to it.
Mahomes.
Maybe Mahomes, exactly. Don't you ever wish, I hear about this, don't you wish they're
supposed to do that throw off? It's been in the works for 3 years now.
I was just going to say that.
You know?
I mean,
crazy.
My goodness, that would be great.
Yeah.
But thoughts on Frank coming back to town?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's always exciting to have him back here, and definitely going to be rooting against him, and it's tough because you love the guy, and, he's all Buffalo. He was so great for us. He did a lot for the city, and, I'm excited. I'm really pumped up for it. And actually, it's funny. He looks like my wife's best friend's dad, and I say it all the time, and she hates when I say it, but it's the funniest thing in the world. So shout out to Michael McEnany giving you a shout out. I'm not sure if he's watching or not, but if he is, big shout out to him.
Speaking of looking like someone, I've got to say, Jake, I don't know if you've heard this, but my son said you look like Josh Allen.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
And I want to say, Rick the other night, was it Wednesday night on the fantasy football show, at the end, he's like, Mike and Josh will have their show on the weekend. And I asked him, I'm like, dude, it's Jake. He goes, Lord. Oh my God. I was thinking Josh, he looks like Josh Allen. So Rick said the same thing. Have you ever heard that before?
I've gotten that like 5 times in the last month. I'm honored. That's amazing. I don't know. I mean, maybe I do. I'll take that. I'll take that all day.
I can Rick,
brag to my wife about it. She'll probably love that.
Yes, you should. Like my son. If my son says it, I mean, it's legit. And then
the girl at Mister's, Mike, before you guys got the Mister's when we were up here in Buffalo at the Isaiah McKenzie show, she comes over to our table and she's like, hey, are you? And I was wearing my Bills hoodie. And she's like, are you Josh Allen? I'm like, I stood up. I'm like 5 inches too short to be Josh Allen, But man, I took the compliment. I'm like, that's amazing. Thank you.
So it's a real thing. And I told Rick, I was like, don't feel bad. You don't know how many times I felt like I was gonna call Jake Josh myself.
Yeah.
You don't know how many times.
Poor Josh. I love that Uncle Jake chiming in. That's funny. Yeah, I've gotten called Josh just because it's similar to Jake, I guess.
Yeah. That's the other thing. So not only is it in my head that you look like him, I'm thinking, I actually have to work very hard to call you Jake all the time. So just letting you know.
Well, I appreciate the heck out of that. That's awesome.
All right, so back to the Colts here. So obviously we just talked about Wentz. He was traded to the Colts in the offseason. They drafted just like we did, 1 and 2, first and second rounds. They went with edge rushers. We're going to talk about Kwity Paye in a little bit, and then the other gentleman who I'm going to struggle with, I'm going to call him Dale. Nice. Ode Mbingo. Ode Ingbo. All right, I'm trying.
That's pretty good.
Anyhow, so they drafted those two just like we did. We went with Boogie Basham and Rousseau. So this is going to be interesting because both their edge rushers are finally playing together now. Like I said, Kwity Paye's played all season, but he's had a little hammy early on in the season. And everything I've read, and again, Jake, I'm gonna tell you this. These pressure stats, these numbers, I've watched 2 different shows. They throw out all these, he's had 15 pressures in the last 2 games. I got to tell you,
which is insane. That's a psycho stat.
I watched the game. I didn't see it. I mean, he had a sack. He had his first sack of the year.
Right.
What they're crediting guys for pressures, I don't know.
You know what? Honestly, I think it's more of a judgment call. I usually go off Pro Football Reference. I like to look at their statistics. I think they do a really good job with everything.
Yeah.
And they have the advanced statistics. And I looked at Kwity Paye, and it said he had nine.
That was for the whole year.
That's for the whole year.
Right.
And Jerry Hughes has been leading the league the past few seasons in pressures, and he had like 39 the 1 year, which is considered a lot. So to have 15 over 2 games, that just seems insanely high. I mean, maybe. I don't think so.
I
haven't seen him in the backfield that much. If anything, DeForest Buckner has been more of a pass rushing guy
Yeah.
than Kwity Paye. You know?
Yeah. So, but he did have his first sack, and I did see him. He's definitely super fast. He was taken ahead of Rousseau, and I think he was the second taken off the board as far as edge rushers go. And then Rousseau followed. Rousseau was number 3.
It was a great year for DNs in the draft this year. It was crazy. I mean, a lot of guys went in the first round. I don't even know. I think maybe 5 or 6 DNs went off the board in total.
You know, your dad's like, I wish you had Josh Allen's money.
Oh, me too. Yeah, it'd be great. You know, I think he said that too at the bar. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You know, I made sure I tipped a little extra though. You know,
Jake, have you ever been to Vegas?
I have. Yes.
Okay, so next time you come to Vegas, there's an area where all these impersonators go, and you can actually be, dress up as Jake. Brilliant. I'm sorry, Josh. See, I'm already getting confused.
Yeah.
And they'll pay you to do that. So you can make some good money out there.
I got to learn how to wear stilts or something because I could gain about 5 inches, But that'll be perfect.
It's funny. You go to this one area and there's all these like stars, these lookalikes, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, let's go over here. So Jonathan Taylor, he's the top rusher in the NFL. He's going to take the lead this year. He's got 900. I'm sorry, he's going to take the lead this week. He's got 937 yards, which is tied with Henry, but he's got those 937 yards on less attempts than Henry. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, he is the leading rusher, and he's going to be official after this game. And so on the defensive side of the ball, they're 10th in points per game. They give up 23 points. They're second behind the Bills in takeaways. This team gets takeaways, and it was big in their last game against Jacksonville. I mean, they had not had a takeaway the whole game. Jacksonville gets the ball with about little over 2 minutes to go. They own a touchdown. They win the game, and they get to the 50-yard line, and the Colts make Trevor Lawrence turn it over. So he fumbled the ball. But yeah, so they're one of those teams. They're very similar to me. They remind me of what the Dolphins did last year. I think the Dolphins were the top takeaway team.
Yes.
And obviously they were 10-6, and that just
wins you some
games. Wins you some games. So they're 19th in yards per game. They give up 363.6 yards per game. They're 20th in passing yards per game with 249. They're 17th in rushing yards per game. And this is on the defensive side, giving it up. They give up 113 yards. And they're 13th in the league in sacks with 22. On the offensive side of the ball, they're 12th overall in total yards per game, 363.4. They're 6th overall in rushing yards per game, which is 136.3. And then they're 22nd overall in pass yards per game, 227. So obviously, they're relying a lot on that run game. And they're 8th overall in points per game. They put up points, 26.8. So I've been talking about the teams that we've been playing the last few weeks. These numbers are obviously a lot better than what we've been seeing from the defenses in the last few games. Yeah. And we, even going back to the Dolphins, where most of those defenses were towards the bottom of the pack, here we are now facing somebody much better, and they're only getting better because some of these younger guys are getting healthy. So it's gonna be a challenge for us, right? I mean, thoughts on the Colts there, Jay, and everything I talked about. Did I miss anything that you want to add?
Yeah, they have a super underrated defense. They have a lot of guys that are awesome football players. And you didn't actually mention another guy on that D line, El Kadeen Muhammad, has played really good this year as well, and that's a hell of a name too. Yeah. Love the hyphen names. There was a span where there were so many different players with hyphen names coming into the league. I feel like we're losing that a little bit. So love that he's keeping that alive. But yeah, I mean, that whole D line, good young football players. I mean, they're going to come and bring it. And that's why I'm a little worried, because Spencer Brown not being in, a little bit of a disadvantage for us. I think their D line is definitely better than our O line. So we're going to have our hands full for sure. No doubt about it. But yeah, Darius Leonard's been like the anchor of that defense. I mean, the guy is incredible. He can he could do everything. He can cover, rush the passer. He had 7 picks the one year, I believe it was, which is insane as a linebacker. Like, wow. I mean, you don't see that stat that often. I mean, maybe Logan Wilson does it this year for the Bengals. He's been going off. He's got like 4 picks, but they're really good. And their defense, their secondary, Kenny Moore, one of the best slot corners in the league, probably, maybe just behind Taron Johnson is the best slot corner.
Really? Okay, that's good info. I did not know that.
He's fantastic. He signed a big extension this year too.
Okay.
Xavier Rhodes, obviously, he's been a true pro. Andrew Sendejo Veteran safety, not too bad. And then right in the middle, their linebacker, Bobby Okereke, very underrated player as well. I thought from what I've seen, I thought he's been playing pretty well lately. So, definitely a good defense. Not anything to overlook.
Yeah, and this team, I mean, they're coming in at 5-5. They got off to a 1-4 start or something like that. Now they're at 500, and they've easily could be, in my mind, 7-3. I know there's another game that I'm forgetting, but the Raven game in particular should have beat the Ravens. They had the Ravens on the ropes, and they should have won.
The Titans and the Ravens game; those games should have probably flipped. Yeah. They would have been 7-3. 7-3. Yeah.
So I mean, big challenge for us this week. And I know what I wanted to talk about ask you about earlier, so I'm going to say it. It's a little off topic before we move on, but did you see that Rashad Wildgoose was signed off our practice squad
by the Jets? Yeah, I did see that. I meant to text you about that.
Yeah.
I loved it. The goose is loose. I mean, that was such a great thing that we had going there. I mean, that would have been awesome. I would have loved to get to have gotten a jersey with Wildgoose on the back.
He had a pretty good rating coming out of the draft. I mean, I don't know much about him in college. Maybe you did, so because I know you're a big college guy.
He was pretty good. I think size-wise, he wasn't bad either, and just a reliable playmaker back when he played with the Badgers. But it kind of sucks that we lost him, but it's okay. Next man up, as we say, Mike.
Yeah, well, we play the Jets one more time this year, so we might see him. Because
we may.
When they get signed from the practice squad, they go to the active roster. They can't sign him and put him on their practice squad. So he's on the active roster. So we'll see if we see a little bit of the goose later on. And that's what I wanted to talk about before I forgot again.
Do you remember Paul Gostad? That could have been the second coming of the Goose is Loose.
No.
Paul Gostad played for the Sabres. We called him the Goose. Oh. Good times. That was back in the day when the Sabres were the 06, 07 Sabres, when we were actually playoff caliber team.
Yeah.
Hopefully it comes back this year, but yeah.
Well, before we get into the key matchups, I guess we can get into the key matchups because some of the things I want to talk about is game theory, right? I feel a lot of what this game is going to be like is the Tennessee. I feel like this Colts team is similar to what we face. Very, very good running game. Maybe number 2, right behind Henry. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is a stud. He's not as heavy not as big as Henry, but he's still, I think he's like 226. It's a big guy. And not only is he big, he's fast. He could run a 4. I think I looked at his 40-yard time as 4.38. And it's faster than Henry's. So he's fast. They use him in the passing game. And it just feels like it's going to be a similar thing. If we can shut down the run, but that play action is always going to be in play for Carson. So we'll get a little more talk a little more about when we get into the key matchups. But I mean, am I wrong there? I mean, you've seen similarities to how that game theory is going to play out. I mean,
I honestly, and this might be crazy. You might want to throw Jonathan Taylor's hat into the ring for MVP candidates this year. That's how good a football he's playing. And on top of that, he's a hell of a receiving back. He's got like 300 something receiving yards this year. And he's averaging over 10 yards a catch as a running back. That doesn't happen often. So he is dynamic. He's a playmaker. He can, once he gets going too, he's gone. I mean, you're not going to catch him. It's similar to Derrick Henry. Obviously not as big as Derrick Henry, but the guy is. He's a better receiving threat than Derrick Henry too. So he's a hell of a football player. I mean, it's going to be tough.
We're going to have our hands full for sure. He's quicker off the initial than Henry is. He's a little quicker. Henry, of course, once Henry gets going, forget it. You don't even want to get in front of the guy.
Right.
But Jonathan Taylor, man, he gets that ball and he has that burst of speed in those first few yards. He's off and running. So in that all, running backs are great and he's having a great year, but that wouldn't be possible without a great blocking offensive line. And they're right there with the Titans. And I feel like they might even be better. I think Derrick Henry
they definitely are.
Is bigger, so he's able to get
some
of those
into
yards.
His guys. Right. He'll get 5 extra yards because of that. Yeah.
Bounces off of them. I feel like this might be the best run blocking offensive line in the league, hands down.
Yep. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more on that.
Antonio says Gustad, just what you're talking about. And
Gustad, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then Big Al's like, he's about to have his worst game this Sunday.
My dad every week comes in and says he just absolutely chirps the other guy every week, and he always says he's gonna have the worst game of his life. I don't know. I think, we haven't really allowed, outside of Derrick Henry, have we allowed a 100-yard rusher this year? I don't think we have.
I don't think we have either.
So maybe he's our second.
And had we not given up that 76-yard run to Henry,
it wouldn't have been.
Wouldn't have been either. So we've done a fantastic job, but again, some of those injuries could play a big factor in the game. And yeah, so let's get into these key matchups. And Jake, yours are first on the board here. Let's talk about yours. So Trey White versus Michael Pittman Jr. Talk about that.
That is going to be so exciting to watch, because last year in the playoffs, I actually think that Michael Pittman really gave Trey White a run for his money. He had 5 catches for 90 yards. Now, and that wasn't even, none of that was garbage time. That game was close. It was a 3-point game. So I think actually it was 24-21, I believe, was the score last year. So, Trey, he's going to have his hands full with him. Michael Pittman. So first off, shout out to Michael Pittman Sr. I grew up watching Michael Pittman Sr. as a running back with the Buccaneers when he was on that Super Bowl team in 2002. Ran with Mike Allstott and a couple other guys. I mean, that was fun to watch. He was a good back, big back actually, and pretty solid player. But and you're getting old when you're watching guys' sons come into the league and play. So that's never fun either. I've seen like 3 juniors come to the league over the last couple seasons. Asante Samuel's another guy this year who came in, watched his dad play, who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. Asante Samuel Sr., that is.
Yeah.
Anyways, Michael Pittman, big guy, 6'4", 223. He's good. I mean, he's a really good receiver. He's really developed this year into what a lot of people thought he would be. He actually, he had first-round talent. I think he was 34th overall anyway, so he's basically a first-round pick as it was. Always, big target to throw to, can stretch the field, make those acrobatic catches. It's going to be really fun to watch that matchup. And like I said, I think he definitely gave Trey White the business a little bit the first game that they played each other, and that was in a big moment too. As a rookie, pretty impressive play by him, 5 for 90. He did have 10 targets, so 50% completion percentage there. And I think the one play was a pretty big catch and run by him. But, that's going to be really intriguing to watch. Trey White has played like an all-pro all season this year. He did get his first interception last week, which was awesome. And they don't really throw to his side much. So if they start throwing to him early, I would like to see what happens there. And I think it's going to be a stalemate between the two of them. I think they're going to go back and forth a little bit. So that's going to be fun to watch. Pumped.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. I mean, last year in the playoffs, I actually felt they outplayed us, Jake. I really do.
Yeah, they 100% did. That was the best offense, honestly, that we played in the playoffs, which is crazy to say because we played the Chiefs and the Ravens. But offensively, the Colts gave us all we could handle.
Yeah, it was worrisome for sure. And I got to say, like, this year, Trey White has been as shut down as you can be, right? There is nobody better in the league this year as being the shutdown guy. So this is just another challenge for him. Obviously, I agree with you. I don't know, 10 targets, but he had 5 for 90, and that was his rookie season. So yeah, I would give the edge to Pittman there. This is going to be a nice one. This is going to be a great battle to watch. And I think obviously we're going to have to shut the run down first. And if we do, this is the other guy that we're going to have to worry about. And we take care of business in both those places. And I feel we got the guy to do it. I mean, Trey can do it. So I'm feeling
it's a good test.
Yeah. It really is.
And I hope we shadow him. I hope we keep Trey on him all day, because I feel like if he goes to the other side against Levi, and I'm telling you this, he played a really good game last week, Mike. I gave him my game ball, but if Levi Wallace has to go up against Michael Pittman, it's going to be scary for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the tweet from Levi to Nickel City Mafia. He said, "Can you tell Jake to not talk bad about me? I mean, just don't say anything bad about me anymore." And he had an interception. So Levi did
anytime
not like
I've actually criticized him, he's always performed. So maybe that's like reverse psychology,
So let me ask you another question here. So we had Phillip Rivers was the quarterback last year, and obviously he was towards the tail end of his career. Yeah. Do you think it's an upgrade or a downgrade or about the same going from Rivers to Wentz?
I think from a physical aspect, I think it's an upgrade. Carson Wentz has all the intangibles and everything that you want from a physicality side of a quarterback. Phillip Rivers is a big guy too. He's 6'5". He's not very mobile though.
No, wasn't mobile at all.
You ever see that guy try to run? It was like bricks on his.
It's like
Dan
Marino. I'd like to see him and Dan Marino go in a.
I would love to see a
40-yard dash. That'd been fun.
Yes, Yes. And by the way, Philip Rivers was on the Manning cast. He was absolutely electric. I love that guy. I don't know how he has so much energy. I strive to be like that. I feel like I'm a pretty high energy guy too. So awesome interview. Him and the two Manning brothers, that was like a dream come true for me because it was just fun. And of course, Peyton brings up the whole thing with Eli and Philip Rivers, the whole 2004 draft thing. So that was great. You could see Eli kind of just clench his butt cheeks a little bit. It was pretty funny. But I think from a physical aspect, yes, it's an upgrade. But from an IQ side of it, Philip Rivers definitely has the edge, and he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. So I guess you could say it's somewhat of an upgrade, but I don't know. I'm gonna call that one a wash, just because. Yeah, but and Carson Wentz has been playing really good football this year. He's only thrown 3 interceptions, 17 touchdowns, a little over 2,000 yards. So yeah,
and that's the type of games they need from him. He doesn't need to go out there and throw the ball for 300 yards. He just needs to make sure he doesn't make those those hero plays where he throws a pick, throws some crazy pass. If he stays, around he usually gets a little over 200 yards. He doesn't have to do much. It's a nice little play action. It's going to be Jonathan Taylor play action. And again, I think he is a little bit better at game management than Rivers was in his, Rivers towards the end of his career was just throwing picks left and right. He was throwing so many picks, especially it was very un-River-like because Rivers was always one of those guys you wanted his, you wanted him to have the ball in hand. He was one of those guys that you felt confident if he had the ball last and they were down and they were driving, you were going to put some points on the board. But in his last couple of years, even with the Chargers, he started to throw a lot of picks
and a lot of crucial picks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, pure passing wise, Rivers gets the edge there, but mobility, 100%. For sure, mobility was all.
It's funny you say pure passing wise because he had such an unorthodox throw. He almost like pushing the football. It was crazy to see.
Right, and even though he wasn't mobile, he's kind of like Big Ben. I mean, he could extend the play and he had a quick release, so it was hard to get to him. It was rare to, so he
put up insane stats too. Yeah. I mean, he's the Chargers' all-time leading passer. He surpassed Dan Fouts, who put up insane numbers back in the 80s and late 70s. I mean, super impressive.
I'd love to hear what the channel thinks. So chime in there. Philip Rivers, Wentz, upgrade, downgrade, about the same, like Jake said. So chime in, guys. You're getting a little quiet out there. Come on, let us know you're still there. All right, let's talk about your second key matchup: Bills O-line versus the Colts D-line. Here we go.
Yep. So a lot of people want to talk about the other side of this, where it's the Colts O-line versus the Bills D-line. Well, like I said, I think our offensive line is going to have our hands full. That defensive line is pretty damn good for the Colts. They have a lot of good young talent on that D-line. They have some depth themselves. So, I mean, DeForest Buckner is the key player on that defense. Him and Darius Leonard, really. But you look at the defensive line, DeForest Buckner is a physical specimen. I mean, the guy is a freak of nature. I think he's got 4.5 sacks this year, leads the team in sacks. He's a defensive tackle. He's like 6'7". He's got long arms. I mean, he is really good. And that interior of our offensive line is going to have a hard time blocking him. So we got to figure that out. And I hope we don't let him make too much of an impact on the game. Running the football up the middle, probably going to be non-existent. I'll be honest with you. I hope we see a lot of Matt Breida on Sunday. We need to use him more. As we saw last week, I think that was huge. We ran away from Quinton Williams too, which is great. But I mean, that defensive line for the Colts is really good. Kwity Paye, we mentioned. Dio, really good football player as well. 2nd-round pick out of Vandy. Both are super athletic defensive ends. And then El-Kadin Muhammad, who we mentioned, having a pretty nice year himself. I think he has 3 sacks as well. So he's been playing pretty good football too. So it's going to be a test for us for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about DeForest Buckner in a little bit as well, because he's one of my I think he's on my next slide. If not, my next slide is an impact player. But that's obviously this is where we struggled. Now we don't have Spencer Brown, and I guess what do you think? I think you might have mentioned it earlier, but let's go back to it a little bit. So do we put Williams back out on tackle, or what's your thinking if you're the head coach, or who's going to start at tackle?
I want to see what Tommy Doyle's made of.
You want to see Doyle?
Yeah, I would like to see him at right tackle, and I want to see Darrell Williams at guard. And if we have to make an adjustment, then we do. I just don't want to see Cody Ford.
Isn't Doyle? Didn't we draft him this year?
Yeah, he was a 5th round pick out of Miami, Ohio. Yeah.
And all right, well, in my opinion, I want the more experienced guy on the tackle.
At tackle,
I know he's
yeah.
not having a great year.
Well, you say that, Mike.
Yeah,
You say that.
I said that.
But our 3rd-round pick is a right tackle, and look what he's done. So
I hear you. I hear you. I don't know, but he was a 5th-round pick for a reason.
true.
Right. So
I think a lot of that is him playing in the MAC. Didn't necessarily play the great competition either, so there is that too. But then, I mean, we talk about Spencer Browning with the Northern Iowa, so can't really. You could probably just throw that out the window. That take.
all right. Well, it'll be interesting. So let's say you want Doyle, but let's say they slide Williams over. Who's going to play guard?
So I had thought maybe Jameel Douglas. He was always a possibility. We had signed him. I think he was actually on our practice squad, and we promoted him to the active roster. And he is a guard. And I know he actually played a little bit of tackle too in college. He was with Arizona State, and that would be interesting. That would be interesting to see what he's made of as well. Ike Buckler is going to play left guard. I think that's definitely set in stone. So, yeah, I don't know. I have a kind of a bad feeling that we're going to end up playing Cody Ford, but that's just me. We'll see what happens though.
Oh wow, yeah. So we have Antonio. Yeah, Cody Ford is such a liability. Everyone is echoing that sentiment for sure, all over social media. Yeah. And you even said it. I don't want to see Ford. I don't. You texted me that this morning.
Yeah, it's tough.
And then that's Uncle Jay out there, right? Is that Uncle Jay?
Yep, that's Uncle Jay.
Saying, is Jake banging on the Mac?
No, I'm not banging on the Mac. I am the biggest supporter of Mac football there is. I love the Mac. He's a hidden gem. I mean, the guy's from Miami, Ohio, played with Blaine Gabbard's brother, was protecting him. So I want to give him a chance. Uncle Jay, I think he'd be a great try out there at that right tackle spot. Can't get much worse, to be honest, at this point. So let's give it a go. Why not? And I think he brings a little attitude to the line too. So it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. It'll be so interesting. All right, let's move on to my key matchups. So I said the Bills defense versus the Colts running game. I was going to say the front 7, but I'm like, this is going to be quite a challenge for us. Now, yes, we've been an elite defense. We've been shut down. We even said nobody's other than Henry, and it was 176-yard touchdown run. Nobody's, I don't believe, rushed for more than 100 yards against us. Yeah. And here we are again with our second big challenge on the year. And this is really where I think the game's going to be won or lost. If we can shut down Taylor, and I got to tell you, just watch the film. I don't know what the Jaguars did in the second half. That game was 20-9 going into the second half. And I think Jonathan Taylor had over 100 yards early second quarter. He didn't get much more after that. So whatever adjustment they made was fantastic. So hopefully we watch a little bit of that film, which I know we have, and we come up with a scheme here. I did want to throw this out to you. I texted you about this, and I can't take credit for saying this because I was watching the great Steve Tasker show this week, and he threw out the idea, what about a little less Taron Johnson, that hurts me because that's my guy. I love him. I have him almost on every time we talk about impact players. What about instead of a little bit less Taron Johnson and go with 3 linebackers and put A.J. Klein in? We know A.J. Klein is great against the run. Mm-hmm. So thoughts on that, man? Thoughts? I mean,
I think it's a great idea, honestly. I mean, that's a key emphasis this week is stopping the run. I think our secondary is good enough where we can get away with not having one other corner out there. We got to definitely drive and get to the ball. I mean, that's huge. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is an elite running back. We need to shut him down. And I think, like I said, I can't see our secondary letting up a big game out of Carson Wentz. I think we're solid across the board there. We haven't let up a 300-yard passer all season, which is absolutely insane when you think about it. Today's NFL, we played against Pat Mahomes, didn't throw for 300 yards. We played against, some decent quarterbacks, really. I mean, I know the teams we played lately really haven't been great. Actually, the Jets were the closest to passing for 300 yards against us. They had Joe Flacco and Mike White, I think, combined for like 298 yards or something like that. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an idea, and we'll see if they go with it. Now, by default,
brilliant.
A couple of those guys are questionable, so by default, he might just be starting this week as one of those 2 linebackers. But it'd be nice if the Matt Milano and Evans plays, and we throw a little bit of in there. 3 linebackers, let's go. I mean, we saw AJ Klein. I don't want to criticize Edmonds. I think he's a key piece. If you watch social media, I texted you a few things this week, right?
Yeah.
People are like, they're like, do we really need Evans? I mean, look what Klein did. Now, again, remember who we were playing. It was the Jets. But I did say, I do think Klein has the edge against the rush. He's a better run stopper. He shoots the gap. He made some great plays in the backfield. Where he loses out to Edmonds, obviously, I think is in pass coverage. That's what I'm hearing. That's what people are saying. And that's kind of been his MO throughout his career, I believe. You lose a little bit on that pass coverage. But run stopping, if you're trying to stop the run, you want some AJ
He's
Klein.
great. Yeah, 100%.
Let's see. Antonio's saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Number 1 ranked defense. That's a great point, Antonio. And again, I'm throwing this out there because this is what the great Steve Tasker said. So I'm throwing it out there and I'm like,
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, but you're right, Antonio. I don't have a problem. I love Taryn. If you've been watching the shows, he's always one of my key guys. So, and again, I'm not saying totally remove him. I'm saying maybe on first down, you got a little Klein in there, and then you bring in Taryn. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they listen to Steve at all or us. But Antonio, you have a great point. I can't argue against that. Let's see. We caught up on the questions? Yeah, I think so. All right. And then my other one.
Jones.
Yeah. Oh boy. And then my other key matchup is the Bills' offensive tackles and guards, and I went with 2 specific guys: Kwity Paye and DeForest Buckner. Now, Kwity Paye, I think he, if you look at the depth chart, he is listed as the left defensive end or left edge rusher. But watching the game last week, they play him all over. They go left, right. They switch him around, see who we can take most advantage of. So our tackles are going to have a difficult time. This guy's fast. Jake, and we've struggled with that. We struggled with the likes of those fast linebackers on the edge. So that's why I was going to call out would have been Williams. And originally it was going to be Spencer Brown because that's who we'd be lining up against. But this guy's all over. So both our tackles, left or right, whoever that is, going to have their hands full. Key matchup there. And then I put the guards in there because, again, I didn't know who they're going to shift around. So I couldn't spell it out. But whoever's going to be facing DeForest Buckner. I mean, we talked about him a few slides ago. You brought up his name. I mean, he was the big signing for... first of all, he's a first-round pick back in 2016. He was the 7th overall taken by the 49ers. He was traded to the Colts in 2020, and they signed him to a 4-year big extension contract. That's $84 million. Guy's a stud. Let me show you some numbers here. Let me just talk sacks. You mentioned a few of them, but dating back to 2018, he had 12 sacks. 2019, 7.5 sacks. 2020, 9.5 sacks. This year, 4.5. He's on pace again, probably to get to that 9 or more.
That's a D tackle.
This is a defensive tackle. This is like, I mean, you got Aaron Donald, who's the best of the best, but this guy is getting similar numbers. Numbers. So obviously, we're going to have our hands full. The tackles have struggled. Kwity Paye is coming on. Again, I didn't see the pressures that they were talking about, 15 in the last 2 games. No, I don't know who's calculating those numbers or recording those. But the guy's stud, and he is starting to play very well. He's super fast. And again, he was taken ahead of Rousseau. So thoughts on that? Thoughts on what I'm saying, Jake? Am I?
I love it. I think you're spot on with that, Mike. It's gonna be a hell of a test for those guys. And whoever's playing, they better bring their A game because you are playing against studs on that D line, the whole D line across the board. Yes, I think those are the 2 most impactful players. Yeah, but we're definitely gonna have our hands full.
You know, I want to say that I meant to bring this up. So of their 7 draft choices, 6 of their draft choices are on their active roster. Yeah. So they did a good job with the guys that they drafted. I think the only guy, his name was Sean Davis, who was their 5th round pick. He's the only guy who didn't make the roster. They actually cut him right before getting to the 53-man active roster. So everybody else they've drafted this year on the roster, and of course those two first and second round picks are really starting to make an impact. So anyhow, let's move on to your impact players. Let's talk about the Bills. I feel like you used Josh Allen, and maybe that's good because we said you look like Josh Allen. I'd like to see. I think is Blake? Who's Blake out there?
That's my brother.
Okay, your brother Blake. Yep. I don't know if you're joining us late, but my son, my 9-year-old, and a friend of ours on the channel says Jake looks like Josh Allen. Love to hear what you think about that.
I love it. Actually, personally, it's an amazing.
I'm hoping your mom sees this. I wonder what she would think. I'm just curious.
I think she's on board with it.
Is she?
I think the other two, my dad and my brother, are going to give me some crap about it. They have been. Actually, my parents' neighbor said that too. They said that I look like Josh Allen. I will take it. I am flattered. That's awesome.
I'm telling you, if my little boy picked up on it, it's a real thing. You look like him.
Wow.
Man. Come on now.
Okay. All right.
All right. So talk about it. You got Josh Allen, Micah Hyde, and Trey White on the Buffalo Bills.
Yep. I love that. Better keep getting in the gym. Yeah. Well, we're going tomorrow, so I'm picking you up 6:30 tomorrow, Blakers. You got to just keep rolling. Keep rolling with that same energy you came out with last week. Josh played like Josh Allen. I mean, he played the best game, arguably, of the season that he's played, outside of maybe the Washington game. He was throwing the ball deep. He was taking some shots. He hit the underneath routes. The sleight of hand, like we were talking about earlier, Mike, so impressive. Goes unnoticed, not talked about enough. The guy is so damn good with that. He's great with his footwork. Get him on some rollouts outside of the pocket. I think he's going to have a nice day. Yes, we are playing against a tough secondary. I think Stephon Diggs is going to carry over his game from the Jets. Just attack, triple his targets, do whatever you have to do to get him the ball. I think it's a good idea to still start with the underneath stuff. I think that's important. However, they do have Kenny Moore, who I mentioned, probably one of the best nickel corners in the league, if not maybe the best. Him and Taron Johnson compete for that number one spot. So a little bit tougher on that. He's been very good in coverage, especially with shorter routes and stuff like that. So he makes a pretty good impact there. But I'll tell you this, I think Josh is going to have a big day. The rain, it's not going to phase him at all. Wyoming built. So here we go. It's going to be important for him, but I think we're going to play pretty well with Josh at quarterback, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I think we're going to do a lot more what we saw last week under center versus just in the shotgun all the time. I think that worked really well.
That's it. Now that's if we can too, because my brother made a good point. That D line's going to probably move Josh a little bit. Realistically, we got to be real here. I think that will happen. So he'll probably be scrambling a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But he does. I mean, he drops back super fast. I mean, right. Yeah. And they have to respect a little bit that he just might hand it off. So I agree with you, brother. But I do think Josh is with one of his he's one of the faster guys to drop back. So we'll see. I hope they do it. It worked really well. Again, that was against the Jets. Now we got a much better defense. So we'll see. Micah Hyde, obviously, we're big on the safeties this year, and who wouldn't be? And Micah Hyde, I mean, every week you kind of swap between Poyer and then you go to Hyde. So talk about Micah.
I had to put him on the list just because I'm going to the game and I expect him to have a huge day. I'm going to be wearing his jersey as I always do.
Yeah.
So just going to be a monster day. I think it's a trade-off. It's like every other game, Mike. Even though last week our entire secondary played incredible. I think this week Micah Hyde gets the nod. Next week Jordan Poyer. The next week it's Micah Hyde. Just back and forth.
Yeah.
We're the best safety tandem in the league. So why not throw him on the list? I think it's safe to say he's going to have a great game. So absolutely, Micah Hyde definitely. And then Trey White, I talked about the matchup with him and Michael Pittman, and that's going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to be jawing at each other a little bit. It's going to be a tough matchup for him, but this is where he's going to show that he's an all-pro. Maybe we shut Michael Pittman down, hopefully not too much. Maybe he gets a garbage time touchdown. I always talk about the garbage time stuff. Probably not going to be a lot of garbage time in this game.
Yeah.
I had Michael Pittman on one of my fantasy teams, and I need to win in this league. So it's always tough starting a player against the Bills. So maybe he lets up like one big catch. And maybe it's not even him. Maybe it's Levi who lets it up because I think Trey White's going to shut him down. Quite honestly, I think he's having a really nice game. So, but good test for sure.
That's going to be a fun battle to watch there. Uncle Jay coming at you there. He says, "Does Jake run like Josh?" And Jake, there's got to be some film on you. I know there is. I think I saw something. I mean, What's your 40, man? What's your 40-yard time
right now? I did run a 40
in your prime.
Recently, actually.
In your prime.
I was never a super fast 40 guy. I think the best time I ran was like a 4.57. So not super fast, more shifty. I was a route runner, so I was a slot guy. There was, yeah. I did run at a combine. It was an Ultimate 100 combine in New Jersey. That was pretty cool because I got to tour Rutgers there, and ended up running real slow. And I think they mixed up my time with the guy who was behind me because they had a video of me, and they did it alphabetically. But anyways, it was terrible. I had my hamstring was cramped up. We still ran a 40 and everything. It was slow as hell. Even my vertical jump was low that day. It was like 107 degrees. I was cramping up. It was bad. But my on-field stuff was incredible. And you know what was even worse? We did all the on-field stuff, and then they make you run your 40 and do all that afterwards. So it's like, it makes zero sense.
Gotcha.
But
so you're kind of worn out by then. But I will say, if you ran a 4.59, I just looked up Josh Allen's 40, and it was 4.7. So you got to beat. So Uncle Jay, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fast 40 guy. That definitely, and I mean, the 4.59 is not even. That's not fast when you're looking at other receivers and stuff. But I mean, it's
but as
right where you want to be.
But as a quarterback, come on now, as a quarterback.
Yeah, as a quarterback.
We're comparing you to quarterback 40-yard times. This is what Uncle Jay's throwing out there.
Yeah, for sure. We'll take it.
All right, let's move over to your Indianapolis Colts impact players, starting with, of course, Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. So we talked about him. We've been talking about him all show. The guy can just burn you, absolutely tear apart a defense. Am a little worried that he becomes the second 100-yard rusher that we let up this season. He's a fantastic football player. Guy should be considered for MVP. He's so important to that Colts team, and a really good pass catcher too. So we got to watch out for him. Him and Nyheim Hines, both, I mean, very, very good on the pass. So yeah, I mean, he's the main focal point of that offense, and we gotta really prep for him. So
nice.
My brother, fastest 40 was 5.4 for me. My brother was a center, so he's a little bit bigger, and he actually played football at Edinburgh University. And unfortunately, like myself, he was concussed. So we both had CTE. Wow. I don't know if it's something we got in our genes or what, Mike, but it's a terrible thing. It's a great excuse to use when you're talking to your wife or something if you forget something, because you just say, oh, it's CTE. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, my brother, actually, now he's lighter than me. He was like over 300 pounds, and he lost a ton of weight. And my brother-in-law always says it. Says, man, I miss Fat Blake. I never got a chance to meet him and talk to him. So it's pretty funny, but yeah.
Yeah, he says Jonathan Taylor will decide if the Colts win.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree on that, definitely. I think it's actually going to be a one-score game. So, yeah, it's going to definitely come down to stopping him. I agree.
All right, and then talk to me about Quinton.
Yeah, Quinton Nelson. Best guard in football. Everyone said maybe he dipped a little bit last year in his play. I don't think so at all. The guy has attitude. He's an unbelievable run blocker, great pass blocker. I mean, he is on his way to a Hall of Fame career. And a lot of times we don't put offensive line as an impact player, but that guy is so important to that team and that offensive line. The offensive line itself is pretty damn good. And I made a huge mistake last week. I totally forgot Ryan Kelly's name, which is a shame. I actually did some push-ups after that, Mike. He's a hell of a center, too. And then you got Mark Lewinsky, Braden Smith, and Eric Fisher, who's a very good, solid veteran player. So, yeah. Quinton Nelson is the anchor of that offensive line. He's unbelievable. Best guard in football, Hall of Fame career already. So, yeah, he's unreal.
And that, I mean, obviously Jonathan Taylor is a stud, but he wouldn't be able to do it without the offensive line that he has.
Quinton Nelson, yeah.
And Jake, everybody on that team blocks very well for the run. They're tight ends. They got some huge tight ends. Their receivers block very, very well. I mean, it's embedded in them on the run game. So it's what they're all about.
Yeah, a couple underrated guys too. Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle at tight end. Jack Doyle's a Pro Bowl tight end.
Yeah.
He can get open. He can catch the football too. So
Mo Alley is what he's like 6'5", 267
He was a basketball player.
Pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you put him out there to run block, and he's got some decent speed as well. They're not using him a lot in the passing game, but it's not bad. But for blocking, oh my God, unbelievable. So totally agree with you on those first two. And then Darius Leonard.
Yeah, Darius Leonard. So I talked a little bit about him earlier as well. He's been one of the best linebackers in football. He's an all-pro. Great human being off the field, too. You always hear stories. I think he saved someone in a car accident or something. He, pulled them out of a burning vehicle or something. So there was a big story about that, too. And he's young. I mean, he is just getting started. The guy is consistent with his numbers. He's great in coverage. He can rush the passer. I mean, he's everything you want in a football player. So he's unbelievable. He's a force to be reckoned with. And expect him to have a big day, and definitely going to hear his name a lot on Sunday.
All right. No punters this week, man?
No, not super impressive, Matt Hawk. And I do like Rigoberto Sanchez. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I don't know.
Funny stuff. All right, let's move on to my impact players for the week. So on the Bills side, I thought this would be great because, Russo's been a little quiet lately, but we know what type of player he is. He could have such a huge impact on us. Not only is he good off the edge, he's a great run stopper as well. So the reason I put him up here is for that. I feel he's gonna he's gonna have a big impact this game, and I love that he's going against Kwity Paye. So you got the number 2 and the number 3 edge rushers taken in the first round. And what's funny about that is the first edge rusher taken in the Jalen Phillips was taken by Miami, and he really didn't develop this year. I don't know.
We're number 15 that's so ugly too. I hate that.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
It's funny. He was taken as the first edge rusher overall, but I don't think he's a starter as of right now. So at least he wasn't.
He might be. Yeah, I don't know. He was a rotational guy.
He wasn't.
Us.
Yeah, he wasn't in the first game, so maybe he is now. But it's taken him longer to develop than these two guys. So Rousseau for sure. I think it's time for him to again. What I love about him, he's just not that edge guy. He's gonna make some great plays stopping the run, and we need that this week. Without Star and this great offensive rushing team, we're gonna need him. I got AJ Klein out there again. We talked about this already. I think AJ, maybe bring in a little AJ, maybe a little 3 linebacker set once in a while. He might by default get the start because the other 2 guys are questionable. Milano with the shoulder injury and Edmonds with the hamstring. You never know. But if they all go, it'd be nice to kind of get him in there maybe on first downs a little bit. Situational plays. We'll see. Then I got Beasley. So, and I'll tell you why. So I was listening again. I always say that I support all the channels out there talking Buffalo. And I listen to this one particular person. And I know when I talk about this, Antonio's going to know who I'm talking about. But he had a guest from the Colts. And he's actually done that. Maybe we'll look to do that in the future. I kind of like that idea. If we can find someone doing a podcast on the opposing team, it'd be great to bring him on and ask him some questions. But he asked the question, where can we beat these Colts? Where can we take advantage of them? And this guy says they run a soft zone. A soft zone. The fans hate it. Soft zone, those 10 to 15 yards, you can get all day on them. And that's Cole Beasley's specialty. Finding that zone and getting the ball to him. Now, if he's out, I think Gabe Davis can do the same thing. Sanders could do the same thing. So if that's true, if they have that soft zone, Beasley could have a big day. So that's why I got him on there. And again, I think it's whoever plays slot for us this week will have a nice game, is my prediction there.
I like that.
And then on the Indianapolis Colts side of the thing, Kwity Paye, I've talked about him already so much. Again, he was the not the second overall pick, but the second edge rusher taken in the first round. He's really starting to develop. It's crazy to think the guy's played in most of the games this year, but not until last week did he get his first sack. So it's crazy to think that, but apparently he's getting a lot of pressures. And I didn't see a ton of them. I did see a few. I would say if I was recording pressures, watching last week's game, I'd give him about 3 or 4. And he had the sack. But he's got great speed. And we know our tackles have struggled against guys with great speed. Josh Allen kicked our butts. Landry kicked our butts. So watch out for these young, fast edge rushers. And then Doyle, I'm not going to say his last name. I've said it. I'm going to let you say it. Take a shot at it. How are you going to say that?
Doyle Odeyingbo.
Odeyingbo. All right. So again,
second round pick out of Vandy. Like I said, I know he's a good football player.
But he was coming off an Achilles injury, and so he hasn't played a lot this season. He's finally getting into the starting lineup, and he's making an impact. So having Kwity Paye and Doyle, their first and second round, that's going to be big for them. And then of course we've talked about DeForest Buckner, right? Yes. He's going to give whatever guard goes against him fits all day. So what scares me the most is, again, I told you Kwity Paye will play on both sides of the ball. He'll go to the left side, he'll rush from the right side. But when he's lined up on the same side as DeForest, oh my God, I mean, that's going to be scary for our tackle and our guard there. So
Yeah,
interesting stuff. That worries me greatly,
it's going to be tough.
especially with all the
That's going to be
problems
really
we've been
tough.
having. So those are my impact players. Any thoughts on those?
Love them, Mike. I think you're spot on with all of them. I love that you have AJ Klein on here. I really do hope that we go in that 3 linebacker set a few times. I think that'd be really beneficial for us. I do worry, especially with Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds being injured, so maybe having AJ Klein out there will help a little bit in the run game. So, yeah, I think all these guys are worthy of being impact guys. Cole Beasley, hopefully he does have a day. Debating on whether I should play him in fantasy or not as a flex. I don't know.
If it was me, I would not, only because of that injury. I wouldn't take the risk. But I think, like I said, if he's not there, if he's not the slot guy this week because he's still a little dinged up, I think whoever fills that role will have a nice game, and that might be
Isaiah.
Gabe. Oh, Gabe. Isaiah as well.
Yeah.
And so we talked a lot about Jonathan Taylor, and I don't know if I mentioned this early on. I think I did, but for the folks joining the channel now, he's very fast, right? I said he runs like a 4.38. I think he's got the fastest. What did they now have the ability to say how fast you were running? Like 22 miles, 22 point something miles per hour.
It's amazing.
You know who else is just as fast? And I think I said it earlier, is Matt Breida. Matt Breida. He's on my thumbnail. I don't know if you saw that to start the show. He made the most of his touches last week. I should have put him on here. I think he could be a big impact. But I didn't realize he was that fast, Jake, until I looked at that 40-yard time.
He could flat out fly.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he is,
So to have a guy like that who can just break it at any time, I want to see him in this game more. I want to see him in more and maybe get more touches than he did last week. But he made the most of his touches other than that fumble. That's the only concern I have, that the coaches will be like, again, in this type of game, a fumble is going to be crucial. And both these teams are great at taking the ball away. They're number 1 and 2 in takeaways on the year. So somebody's going to make a big play on a takeaway. And hopefully, and one takeaway could be the difference in this game this week. It really could be.
I agree. Yeah.
And with
1,000%.
And with the weather that we're seeing, if it is raining, that's going to happen. There's going to, fumbles are going to happen. Bad throws are going to happen. So a lot of stuff can happen with takeaways. So we're at that time of the game where we talk about predictions, score predictions. Now, I mentioned it early in the show. We did give away a $50 gift certificate. Actually, it was $50. I just sent it over to Josh Stubby, who didn't make it. He said he was going to try, and he's putting it towards a good cause. But I want you to put those predictions in the channel, folks, because you never know with the Nickel City Mafia. I mean, we say you have to hit the score right on the button, but I'll tell you what, if you're close,
maybe.
You never know. Well, it's the time of the season to give back, and please, Antonio, you too, man. I didn't see a prediction from you last week, so get that prediction out there. So everyone, please put a prediction. You have plenty of time. I'm going to give you up until game time to put that prediction in the comments. And let's start with you, Jake. First of all, let's go through the dream that you had this week.
Okay.
And how you see this game playing out, and then throw your prediction in the channel, please.
I think it's going to be close the entire game, Mike. We're going to be on the edge of our seats. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. And I do think it's almost inevitable that Jonathan Taylor is not going to break at least one big run this game. It might not be a 76-yard run or something like that, but 20 to 30 yards, I think it's going to happen in a crucial moment for them. But ultimately, I think the Bills pull it out in the fourth quarter. We've always been a second half team this entire season. I mean, outside of the Jets game, really. So I think we're going to actually end up winning by one score and a 2-point conversion, 30-22 Bills, my prediction.
Wow. Interesting. So for me, last week I predicted, I think it was 20-17, and it worked out. It worked out. We blew them out. This week, I think it's going to be super close. And I'm going to say 24-20. I was going to go with a little higher score for both teams, but because the weather's coming into play, I'm bringing it down a notch. So I'm going to go with Bills 24-20. And I'm not going to say there's going to be any late score heroics, but it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a cage match of of the ages. We're going to have a steel cage match there.
It's going to be a
Buffalo.
good test for us, for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
My brother's saying we're losing.
No, I think I, oh, he's saying
27
27
Colts, 20
Colts, 20
Bills.
Bills. You have to have a talk with your brother. But hey, I'm not
I know
gonna.
what the heck.
What's going on here?
He says we pick the Bills every week. I mean, maybe he's trying to do a little reverse psychology. If you're taking one for the team here, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I love that. But
You're
man,
right. I mean, we have taken the Bills every week, but I don't.
you can't bet against us. I
Right.
mean, we are a good football team.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, we got. I think I told you I did a show earlier before I started this the pregame and post games, and I did kind of like the Bills record, I guess. And I'm off. Let's see, they're 6-3. I had them at 7-2. Of course, I didn't have them losing that Jaguar game, but I did predict that they would lose one game to the Patriots, and I did say that they would lose one game. I did have them losing to the Bucks. But I also had them losing to the Dolphins, and I was completely wrong there. So we'll see. I don't know if I can ever honestly say that we're going to lose a game.
And with how the NFL is this year, you just don't know.
I don't think I can ever in this channel say I see the Bills losing this week. I just can't do it. I don't know. I feel like I would be just doing a disservice to this team if I said that. Jake, if you want to be that guy, feel free.
I can't bring my heart. I'm too emotional. This is my problem with fantasy football too, Mike. I'm way too emotionally invested. I can never bet against the Bills, and I always like to play Bills players if I have them too. So it's just so tough.
So, Antonio, you say you think it's low scoring. You're going to throw out a score there, or did you already throw that out earlier in the chat and I'm not seeing it? So throw it out there. Blake, yeah, you're right. We have picked the Bills, and we're going to pick the Bills. I like that score, Antonio. I do. I'm saying
17-13.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with the weather, could be very realistic. And like I said, the Jags and the Colts was what, 23-17. And that game in the second half, I mean, the Colts only put up 3 points. They shut them down.
Yeah.
So you throw in some weather, and we could have a very similar game to that, and with lower scoring. So, and maybe
I'll say this: I don't think Carson Wentz plays nearly as good as Philip Rivers did last year in the AFC wildcard. 100%, no chance. So I will say that. You know what? Actually, going back to your comment, Antonio, I know you mentioned you like Philip Rivers. I definitely do think there's probably a little bit of a drop in talent, and having a quarterback like Carson Wentz compared to Philip Rivers. I do think Philip Rivers definitely has the edge. So I will say, I mean, we saw what we did against Philip Rivers. He played pretty well. So, and I like Mike's prediction, 24-20. You just said it there. I think we're going to come after Carson. I think the hero ball might get him in a little bit of trouble. We get a late interception that might seal the game for us. Maybe it's Micah Hyde.
Yeah. Well, we forget we have a guy on our side who likes to play hero ball once in a while too. So
we do.
And we got to watch for that.
Do.
And this week for sure, those type of things could impact the game. I'm excited about it. I'm not as worried about not having Spencer Brown as a lot of people are. I think this is a team that they just need to look at the film and remember that they were part of the AFC Championship game. Most of those guys were, and they were on this team. So familiarity is a good thing. You've been around this team now for a couple years. You know the system better than anybody. So let's make some adjustments and let's get the job done. I mean, with COVID, it's next guy up. It's going to be like that. I mean, I'm worried. I'm worried now. Like, come Saturday, are we going to get, or Sunday, are we getting another Sunday morning surprise?
I know.
I mean, every team is going to have that at some point. And I mean, look, they had Aaron Rodgers missed a game a couple weeks ago. So you're going to see more and more of that again. So who else we got there? All right.
I just put mine in there. I had to do it.
Antonio 713. Yeah. All right, cool. So again, let me do a little admin. Hit that, drop a nickel on that subscribe button for us. I already said we got another great giveaway. Hopefully you don't like us just for the giveaways, but hey, it's cool. We like to give back to people, and that's what the Nickel City Mafia is all about. Hopefully you like our content and you subscribe, but watch for the video Sunday. Contest starts then. Again, I told you 500. No one else knows this yet, but you guys that are here in the channel, $500 gift certificate for fanatics.com. Contest will run for 4 weeks, and that Sunday before Christmas, we will be picking the winner and getting that card right out to you so you can have it for yourself, or maybe you want to give a family member or someone a amazing gift. And I'm excited about that. So thank you to our sponsor for the gift, and we'll talk about him, their company on Sunday. Jake, I mean, also let me talk about golf is on a little bit of a vacation. I think we don't have golf for the next month. So our shows on Tuesday are not going to happen for a while. So that gives us an opportunity, Jake, if we want to have our post game on Tuesday or Monday.
I think Tuesday's the day, Mike.
All right, let's.
We can maybe we do post game Monday, and then we got pregame again for the Bills. We got to.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. I forget about that. So you're right. We're gonna have to do that pregame show either Tuesday, Wednesday, the latest, but probably Tuesday would be best since that time slot has opened up for us. Yeah. Any closing thoughts for you, my friend?
Honestly, I think we just gotta, continue what we did last week against the Jets. Come in confident, come in fire on. Let's score on that first possession. I think it was the first time last week that we scored on the first possession all year. I think that's huge. That builds momentum. We're at home. We have the advantage there. And if weather's a factor, so be it. We got to focus on stopping the run. We have to throw the underneath stuff. We got to take a few shots. Force the ball to Stephon Diggs. I don't care what you have to do, and make Matt Breida a big piece of this offense. I love what we're doing. I love what we did last week against the Jets. I have faith in us. The Bills are pulling this out. It's going to be a great Sunday, and I'm pumped, Mike. I'll send you a ton of tailgate videos.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get that on the next show. So
yeah, that's going to be fun.
So Tuesday, for those joining us, you'll get to see all the videos and pictures that Jake took. I want to go back to Blake here in the channel. He says over under on penalties, and that's right. I mean, I think somebody else mentioned it in the channel. Penalties have been a huge problem for us. We did bring them down a little bit last week. I think it was like 7 for 50 yards versus the week prior where we had over like 117 yards and penalties, a whole football field, more than a football field.
That's insane.
So being a Sean McDermott team, we got to be disciplined. We have to be, right. And it's surprising that a team under Sean would be like this. And I think he's going to get that under wrap, and because it's so critical. And in games like this, it could be the difference.
100%. Yeah. And I'm okay with some aggressive penalties, but when it comes to the mental errors, the false starts, stuff like that, you just can't have that. Cannot have that, especially in, like you said, like a game like this. It's too close, way too close.
Yeah, 6th in penalty and penalty yards. And last week, you were right, Antonio, when I mentioned the sack that didn't happen because Epinesa had an unnecessary roughness call, and it was F.A. Obata, and who had a great game, and we'll probably see him in this one as well. So again, thanks for pointing that out, Antonio, last week. I went back and checked it. You were absolutely right. And so those type of penalties, right? Huge sack, and Epinesa comes in there, and I mean, it's hard to kind of let up, but the guys know the rules. You got the guy down. Do not drill your helmet into him or come down hard on the guy. They're going to call that all day against quarterbacks. Those are the most frustrating for me, is those. You make a great play, and you get the unnecessary roughness calls, and they happen. They're probably going to have a few of those this week. It seems to happen in every game. Jake, I haven't watched any games that don't have that type of call at some point.
Did you watch any of the Man in the Arena stuff, the Tom Brady series on ESPN?
No.
They just started doing?
No.
It was fantastic, but it made me think about, how they used to not protect quarterbacks at all with the Drew Bledsoe hit that really sprung Tom Brady into action. Like, quarterbacks used to take some serious hits. I mean, it was insane. They were not protected at all. And I kind of miss that a little bit. You got to treat them like athletes. I get it. The game's better when you have a starting quarterback in the game. But some of the penalties are just ridiculous. And some of the common sense is just thrown out the window with these refs, too. I mean, there has to be a gray area, too. And you got to use a little bit of common sense here and there. Yeah, I agree. Driving your shoulder into a guy. I don't know. That's part of the game of football. That's what you signed up for. So I think a lot of the physicality with that, yes, you go below the knees. Maybe there's something with that. If you're rolling or something like that, definitely keep that out of the game. But with stuff where you can't control momentum, where you're falling onto the guy, it's like you can't get out of that situation. Like, some of that stuff is just way overkill, and it's totally ridiculous. It's honestly, it's kind of ruining the game a little bit. But yeah, with last week's penalty, you got to know better. It sucks. You got to play within the rules. And as a defensive player, I feel like they're making it less and less easy to play defense. And especially as a defensive lineman, corner. I mean, corner is the toughest position in football to play right now. But it's tough, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
hopefully we can avoid it.
I agree with you on one side of the ball, on one side of the conversation. I'm saying, yeah, you're right. They have made it super difficult for defensive players with the quarterback situation. But on the other side, we're now seeing quarterbacks play late into the years, right? We see Brady.
True.
Is Brady ever gonna retire?
I don't know.
I don't
I
think
actually
so.
don't know. Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be over 50 years old when the guy friggin' retires. But other quarterbacks are having the longevity is they're being able to play longer, which is good for the game, right?
Sure.
We want Josh Allen around for many, many years. I would hate that he would take some hit that was before these rules came about that just ruined his career.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can see both sides of the ball.
And they do treat pocket passers different than they treat running quarterbacks. That's just a fact.
Do they really?
Down.
Absolutely. They give the edge to the pocket passers?
I think, well, they're going to give the flag to the pocket passer 9 times out of 10 over a guy that's used to running the football. I mean, Lamar Jackson gets hit. It's just different. Even Josh. I mean, Josh isn't always getting the same flags that you see Tom Brady get just because they're two different types of quarterbacks. And you see a guy take a shot or something like that. Well, it's like Josh, he'll take a shot every few running plays, so it's totally different dynamic.
So let's answer your Blake's question. Over or under on 6 penalties this game?
I'm going to say under. We're going to be right at 5.
I'm gonna say. And
I feel like that's still high.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. Actually, I think he's gonna be right at 6. So I'm gonna take I'll take the under on it as well. I think we'll do good there. It's gonna be super important, and we're gonna be home, man. We got not having Spencer Brown, not having Starr, but what do we have? We have the best fans in Buffalo. They're gonna be at that stadium, and they're gonna be loud, and they're gonna. Just like they were last year, just like they are every time. And so that's where we get the edge. No Spencer Brown, guess what? Those 70,000 plus people are going to make up for that. I promise you that much. And I know you will. Where are you sitting, by the way? Do you know?
We're 6 rows up, section 121. So we have great seats. We're going to try to get in a little early, too, because we want to see some warm-ups. But, we have amazing seats. I mean, we're perfect. I think we're sort of in the corner of the end zone, and we're 6 rows up, like I said. So it's going to be awesome. I'm pumped. Can't wait.
Wow. I mean, I forgot also, too, to talk about our Wednesday show, the fantasy football. We might have to fill in. I don't know what your schedule looks like, but I'm hearing one of the guys may not make it.
I don't think I can this Wednesday.
All right. So it might just be me and Chris or Rick, one of those two. And we're filling in because both of them are traveling. One of them thinks they can make the show. If the other can't, I'll obviously be filling in those shoes. But I saw Antonio out there on the fantasy football show. Obviously, Jake, you come out there sometimes, so it's very cool to have you guys out there interacting. So appreciate you, and even Slinky, come on, Slinky, where you at? Where you at with the predictions?
I know he came in early.
I don't know. He comes in, and I don't know if he just disappears. But Slinky, man, we want your interaction. We love that you come out and support the channel. And again, I don't know much about you, Slinky, but I didn't see you in the giveaway. I want to see you in the giveaway, and if not you, because you're under 18. Get your parents, man. Get your grandparents. Somebody. You got to find somebody, right? There's no reason why, no matter what age you are. And I hope, we keep it clean on this channel. We really do. You and I, I don't know if you hear much cussing from us at all. So it's not a thing for me. I don't know if you're keeping it toned down.
I got a daughter. I mean, I swear here and there.
Right. So we keep it clean, and I'm hoping we have a lot of kids. My son watches this, my 9-year-old, and if they see these giveaways that we're having, and they want to get in, man, go talk to your parents. Come on, man, get them over here. There's no reason why they shouldn't be out checking out the Nickel City Mafia, especially if they're Bills fans.
Yes, absolutely, 100% agree. I love what Antonio said too. He said he hopes I can't talk for the post-game show because I'll be so loud at the game. Antonio, I agree with you, man. I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to be loud. It's going to be fun. And I don't think I'm going to be painting my face. I'm not going to go all out like you did. But, and I love that, by the way, especially doing that in a away stadium. I mean, that is awesome, awesome stuff. But I'll definitely be supporting. You ain't kidding. For me, it's almost like, sounds bad. I mean, I'm going to have a blast, but it's like a business trip. I mean, we're here to watch football. You know what I mean? Like, this is big time here. And this is going to be an insane matchup between these two teams. So it's going to be fun. And being that close to the action is going to be awesome.
That game can't get here any sooner for me. I wish it was. I wish this was the morning of. This was our normal pregame, and I only had like an hour or two to wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if
it's such a tease.
Antonio, are you planning on going to Buffalo this year for a game? be interesting to know. And of course, he'd bring the face paint.
Yeah.
But
if so, we'll have to meet up somewhere.
yeah, I mean,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Jake
My brother was saying, too, with penalties, he's saying 11 to 14 and a half penalties a game uptick from 2008 to 2018. That's pretty insane. It has been like the National Flag League more than the National Football League, if you catch my drift.
So that's the average on each game this year? Is that what he's saying there? 11 to 14 and a half penalties between the two teams. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
That is wild.
Good information there. Yeah, so let's see. He's not planning on it, but you never know if we got to get some wings, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree.
You know, it's funny. I on Facebook, I saw somebody say, "Hey, I'm coming into Buffalo. Where's the place to go get wings?" Somebody mentioned the Barbell Tavern, and I chimed in and said, "If you get them from the Barbell, make sure you order them extra crispy."
Extra crispy, extra saucy. Yes.
Extra crispy. And what's that?
I do both.
What's that sauce you like from there? Is like the honey barbecue? Is that what it is?
Honey butter barbecue. So
honey
a lot of people
barbecue.
say that's not a true Buffalo wing, but in this case, because it's made in Buffalo and they do everything in-house, it's awesome. They even make their own blue cheese, which is awesome. It is legit. And their medium wings are awesome too. And another warning about that, their medium is still a little spicy. Their medium hot is it's pretty hot, and then their hot is like insane. And then they have like a suicide wing too, which is even more intense. So it just keeps going up. But yeah, it's just the best. Can't beat it.
I gotta say this. I think I said this when I came back from Buffalo. Look, when I was growing up there, we didn't have all these fancy sauces. It was mild, medium, hot. I think suicide came about later on. And when I went back, I didn't want to order these fancy sauces.
Right.
I mean, I wanted the medium. We didn't go mild at all. I don't think maybe we did at one of the places we ate at, but it was mild or medium for me all the way. And that buffalo sauce, I mean, they sell it out here and they try to put it on wings out here. It just doesn't taste the same.
It's not the same.
It is. Yeah. It is not. So just ordering the basic stuff, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. And I got to say, I was a little surprised by going downtown and getting the wings at where it all started, and at the Anchor Bar. So, you know, it's not known for the best wings that you can get, but it's a cool experience. And we were our Airbnb was right there, and the wings weren't bad. Jake,
there's not a place in Buffalo that has bad wings.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, these are good. Yeah. So again, you can't go wrong with any place, but everyone has their favorites, and I didn't have enough time. I wanted to get to Doc Sullivan's. I wanted to get to
Doc's is good.
What is it? Gabe's Gate. I think that's another
Gabriel's
one.
Gate. Yeah, that's a good one. 911 Tavern's another one.
There was like 2 or 3
Wing Nuts. Got to get out there. That's at a Knights of Columbus. This husband and wife, actually Barstool promoted it back in the summertime. They came here for their little trip. Big Cat and PFT. Shout out to those guys. No, they're not. They're probably not watching, but they did a fantastic job covering that. This guy started his own wing place. It's called Wing Nuts. Him and his wife, they rent out the space in the Knights of Columbus, and it's just the coolest thing. And apparently the wings are just incredible. So got to try it.
So who's this? Who's the place that Blake's saying is they paint the wings with
That's
a brush?
Barbell. Yeah, they literally use a brush and they paint every single wing.
Wow.
Yeah, individually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And they make their blue cheese in house too. So it's awesome.
I do want to let the people know, and you can vouch for me, there is Bill's material coming for the backdrop.
Yes.
Right? You can vouch for me. And I ordered something special. I'm hoping it gets here soon as well. So hopefully, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to have something behind me here that you guys,
I love it.
That you guys can be proud of, and that my wife can be proud of, and not give me a hard time. I mean, look at yours, Jake. I mean, you look like, dang.
So this is the man cave. And actually, there's not a ton of Bills stuff on this wall here, but as you walk down the stairs, I have Bills pennants lined up from like the Super Bowl years and everything. And then on the top, on my door, it's a giant life-size poster of Doug Flutie, and it scared the crap out of my wife when I opened the door. The first time I had it up there, had the door open, she walks in, she thinks it's a real person, which is hilarious. So it's Doug Flutie. It's awesome.
I wish my wife would let me hang stuff outside of this room. This is basically all I have. I
I'm not allowed to decorate outside of this. This is the man cave. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Blake says they don't just toss them in a bowl, and yeah, that is cool. And out here, I've tried so many of the wing places. They're just horrible. They do the bowl thing. They put too much on. The sauces don't taste as good. They have all these fancy sauces, and I just can't
keep
find
it simple.
Just keep it simple.
You don't need anything crazy.
That's why when I went back, because most of the people out here, they don't order the basic. They have all these fancy. When I went back, I just kept it simple, kept it traditional, and they were the best.
That's how you know a place has good wings. If their medium and hot wings are good, they're gonna have good wings.
Yeah. So listen, 100%. Everyone, appreciate you. We've had we had a nice almost hour and 45 minutes. Appreciate all of you that hung out. Again, give us a like, share, and we'll have a post game. It'll be Tuesday night, and you'll see it. Just come back to the channel. You'll be able to see when I schedule that up. We'll usually 6 o'clock West Coast time, 9 o'clock East Coast is when we schedule those for. That works out for both of us. Hopefully that holds true. And then just remember on Sunday to come to the channel and check out the video about the giveaway and get started on that thing right away. There will be I'm going to let you guys know, there'll be a bonus code in that video. What a big mistake that a lot of people made, Jake, in the first giveaway. It was only a 9-minute video and they didn't watch it to the end. And there was a bonus code
code in the video.
That 5 entries could have won this thing for you. So watch the video. It'll give you the first bonus code and you're off and running, man. So thanks a lot, Big Al, Antonio. Go Buffalo. Let's go. We need you out here, man. Come on out to Buffalo.
Yeah, seriously.
Get over. If you come out to California, I can hook you up. Maybe next year when they hopefully the schedule, we have either the Bills coming out to SoFi Stadium to play the Rams or the Chargers. Heck, we can even consider if we get to the Raiders and we have to go to Vegas.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
You and Big Al should make that trip. And we get Antonio out there.
Get Stubby there too. He's a Raiders fan.
Stubby's actually going to the game this week. He was offering up tickets. He's going.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My son and he had 2 extra tickets, but we just can't make the trip this weekend. But yeah, he had some extra tickets, so he would be there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, let's get some of this. So thanks everyone. Take care.
Appreciate it, guys.
And if we don't see you before Thanksgiving, hopefully we'll see some of you. But if not, have a happy Thanksgiving, man. Every one of you. Take care now. Bye now.
Go Bills.